Well, at least we know Jacob deGrom is pitching today. That's a good thing. Not much about what the Rangers have accomplished lately at home has been, but let's see if they can finish the home stand strong. We've got the DLLS Rangers podcast coming next. Yeah, that is Jack Leiter wearing a batting helmet and gloves and batting last night. Desperate times? Yeah, they might be. They were a little desperate last night, and they call for desperate measures. We'll see what those become. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. John Radigan here, Jeff Wilson there. We've got Ryan Vaughters in here with us again today, and does a great job setting us up with all things graphic, so we'll see those a little later in the program. We'll talk about this team's attitude right now, and we'll get to a sort of a recap of June, which record-wise was, whatever, 13-13. But Jeff, that game last night, I don't even know where to begin. I guess you begin with the fact that Evan Carter wasn't available, and they decided not to use the bereavement list, which would have given them the opportunity to call a player up.
Yeah, I think honestly, you start with we're not going to play 4 extra inning games in a row.
No, there's no
Are you
chance.
crazy? We're not going to do
No
that.
chance.
And so they also didn't go get any bullpen help. And they had guys they wanted to stay away from, but they thought, all right, we're get enough out of Corbin. All right, we can get through 9, no problem. And then with Evan Carter, like, all right, the bereavement list, he's had his grandfather pass away. He attended the funeral, and he won't be back today. You have to stay on a minimum of 72 hours. So it's not like he could go for 2 days and come back. You got to be on there for 3 games. And the Rangers want him available for Wednesday. Okay, great. But they're a man down. And so eventually that does kind of in the end play a factor in the game, because when Bruce Bochy went to the bench there in the later innings, Evan Carter probably would have been the second choice. Josh Smith, I think, was the first guy to pinch hit. Evan Carter's probably next,
Yep.
Instead it's, I can't remember if it was Haggerty or Osuna, but you think you probably are going to have that guy Evan Carter in the lineup for the final 4 or 5 innings of the game.
Sure.
And so that was a big deal. But, ultimately it's just another thing that feels like the Rangers aren't going to be able to overcome. These 4 games are no question they're going to affect today's game.
Right.
They're probably going to affect Wednesday's game. And so you could be looking at just a rash of terrible luck, and having to play 4 extra inning games that could ultimately lead to a couple more losses or a couple more extra inning games. I mean, they're just in a bad way right now with the bullpen. Jacob deGrom is pitching tonight, so that's good.
Yeah.
And Jacob needs to give him 7.
Yep.
All right. There's just no other way around it. Jacob deGrom needs to pitch 7 innings, whether he gives up 15 runs or whether he gives up 0 runs.
Yeah.
They need him to go deeper into the game. Because tomorrow Nathan Eovaldi's starting. And while that sounds awesome, he only went 3 innings last night.
Yeah, he's rebuilding.
So
still.
he's rebuilding. They're probably going to let him go 4 this time. Maybe pitch into the 5th, push him a little bit just because where the bullpen is. The off day Thursday helps reset things, but it's not a good situation. And no matter how you want to spin it, say it, whatever, it's all the offense's fault.
It is. There's no question. And I saw people all over social medias last night ripping Hobie Milner. He's about the last guy on this team you need to be ripping. This guy has been a hero. And I'll tell you who was somewhat heroic on the mound yesterday, I thought, because he just didn't have his stuff, was Patrick Corbin.
Oh,
right?
my gosh. Yeah.
He went out there, and I was like, oh, God, they're going to – I mean, after all these extra inning games, they're going to have to get him out of there in the second or third inning, right?
Yeah.
And he kept going. I kept looking up. I'm like, damn, Corbin's back. And actually, I think he got like 12 of the last 13 guys he faced. He settled in a little bit. But, man, at the beginning of the game, I was just thinking, okay, this is going to be a really short outing for him.
Yeah, he's a professional. He knows he does know how to get outs. The 3 runs in the third, I believe it was, kind of, obviously not ideal. He did well to allow only 3. Honestly, he threw 109 pitches.
Yeah,
I looked up last night. It was a 6th inning, and Corbin's out there, and I glanced kind of at I don't know if it was the scoreboard or
pitch count
TV thing.
Yeah.
It was like 104. I was like, what's going on here? And but he had to do it, and he wanted to do it because he understands where the bullpen's been. So that's a pretty heroic thing, and that's starters get it, and they understand that they have jobs to do sometimes that makes them go a little bit beyond what they normally do. But he's going to have an off day before his next start, so everything works out there. But again, it's back to the offense because they didn't do anything for the first 5 innings against the guy who had shut him down last week, one of the Rogers brothers. Let's go with Trevor in this case. And then Simeon, home run he hit in the second deck, just woke everybody up.
Yeah.
And then Michael Hellman in his Rangers debut has this wild race around the bases. Maybe he got fortunate because the worst catcher in the league is Gary Sanchez, and he couldn't handle the throw home on the wild throw that got into left center. Anyway, exciting play, game tied, 7th inning, feeling great.
Yeah,
and then the 8th, 1st and 3rd, 1 out, and Jonah Heim up. And last week in the same situation, 8th inning, Tuesday night in Baltimore, Jonah Heim hits a sacrifice fly.
Yep,
that's all he's got to do. Hit a ball,
get
a ground
in the air.
Ball. Yeah, and by golly, he struck out. The next batter might have been Young. I don't remember who it was. Also struck out. It was Josh Smith pinch hitting there.
That's right.
He struck out. Inning over, threat over. 9th inning, Ezekiel Duran pinch runs, steals second, steals third easily.
Yeah,
against Bautista. All right, Alejandro Osuna is up there against Felix Bautista. Very tough matchup for a rookie,
a youngster,
and he strikes out. All right, Sam Haggerty's next, bounces out or struck out. I don't know, made an out. So the Rangers go to extra innings. Anyway, right there, you're talking 4 opportunities, two with a runner at third and 1 out, where you just got to put it in play.
Yeah,
and the Rangers win the game. It doesn't happen. The 10th inning, they give up the runs because Garcia goes back out. He's tired. But gosh, Dlls one swing of the bat, they're right back in it. The crowd's going crazy. But just didn't have enough energy. Did not, couldn't overcome the bullpen. So anyway, the offense throughout this stretch, Mike Maddox didn't say anything negative about the offense, but he did point out that in the last 4 games, the Rangers have played 5 games worth of innings.
Wow.
And because of the 4 extra inning games. And you can go back to Friday, missed opportunities. Saturday, they win the game. Great. Sunday, missed opportunities. And you cash in some of these opportunities, and guess what? The game ends. You save the bullpen 20, 30 bullets, and that's big. All right? That's big.
It's big for the next day, right? It's big for the offense. It's big for everybody. The other day when Seager hit the extra inning home run to tie it, it felt like almost a foregone conclusion the Rangers were going to win, which, of course, they didn't, unfortunately. Last night, even though Garcia hit that home run to tie it, not sure I felt like they were going to win. And that's because of those bullets you're talking about, right? It's like, oh my gosh, who's going to pitch? And everybody's gassed. Milner had gone with three times he's pitched in 4 days, right?
They were trying to stay away from him.
Yeah.
They didn't want him to pitch.
Yeah.
And but these guys, they're not going to say no ever, And he put forth a very valiant effort, but it just wasn't there. When you're tired, your command stinks, and he doesn't have enough velocity in the first place to get away with bad command, and so the result was what it was. But my gosh, it all goes back to the offense, and then you can say, well, how does this happen? Right? How does this happen?
Yeah.
Do these guys not understand the situation? Now, see, Jonah's strikeout, I'll give him a little bit, not a free pass, but one of the foul balls he hit, I think it might have been for strike 2, was an elevated pitch.
It was.
That very clearly he was trying to hit in the air and get into the outfield. All right. You still have to put the ball in play. You still can't strike out there. And Josh Young, we're not sure where Josh Young's head is at right now. His game Saturday when he missed there in the 11th after Cole Winn had done Herculean work after Corey Seager's homer. He strikes out. Okay, they don't score, and then he makes the mistake in the field. And did that carry over? And because you can't have that, you just can't do that. So there are a lot of things, but the basic one comes down to these guys are terrible at situational hitting.
Right.
And the thing is, they had just seen Marcus Semien on Saturday.
Yeah.
Just serve one into right field. 100-mile-per-hour fastball off the plate, bases loaded. Marcus Semien just knocks it into right field, and the Rangers win the game. That's all you had to do.
All you needed to do.
That's all that they needed to do.
I think to answer that very first question that you brought up, the reality is they do know the situation, right? Maybe not Osuna, I don't know, but Jonah Heim walks to the plate. And that's why, to your point, he's trying to hit that ball in the air on the high fastball. They know the situation, and there's some sort of block right now that's disallowing them from, doing what they know how to do and what they know needs to be done. And that's the thing that is. Somebody's in the chat saying this is the most frustrating season they think they've ever. It is. It's a very frustrating season. And the reason it's so frustrating, I think, Jeff, is because we know that the talent is there, that these guys can get that job done. And then you add all that talent they have on offense to the fact that this pitching staff continues to be unbelievable. I mean, it was a quality start for Patrick Corbin, as bad as he looked early in the game.
Yeah, they've done it time and time and time again. They've done it the last 3 games. They've given the team a chance to win. And so is the bullpen for the most part, and again, the extra inning rules are difficult. The free runner, I think a lot. It's an unearned run, first of all.
Yes.
So I think the assumption is that guy's going to score.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't in the top half, and you're the home team, you got to get your guy home. There's this. Marcus Semien said this yesterday after the game. He said the rules are set up for us to win, and they just haven't been able to get it done. And there are multiple instances. Games shouldn't go past 10 innings.
No,
let alone
right.
11. And
right.
the Rangers have gone
to
12 twice.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're just gonna run out of chances, and so I do think I think the Rangers are stuck with what they have right now. I do. I think Jake Berger is coming back. White Langford's coming back. That could afford them some flexibility with Josh Smith to play third base and give Josh Young a mental break or send him to AAA. So that's help. That's going to help, in theory, give them a little more roster flexibility. But man, they're short right now, especially with Carter. Do you want to play Ezekiel Duran right now in place of Young? Just because Ezekiel is pretty versatile.
He is.
He can pinch run. He can go in and play left or shortstop or anywhere really in the infield. You probably want that guy on the bench. So I'm not sure what's going to happen these next couple of days, but it's just they need to win some ball games. They're 9.5 now out in the West. They're still right in the thick of the wild card race.
Yeah,
but it seems like they just need a win. They need to win this series.
Yeah.
They can't have a losing homestand.
And again, now they're 3 under 500, which isn't, horrible. It's bad. But getting to 500 or barely sneaking in as a wild card is not what this team's goals were at the beginning of the season. Bruce Bochy has said it. Chris Young has said it. Obviously, they'll take that if that's all they can get. But the goals are much more lofty than that. And if this team has any chance of achieving those, they've really got to get to turning it around now that we have hit the month of July. We're going to talk about the month of June here in just a minute, but let's continue this chat and discuss a little bit about this team's attitude. There's some alarming sort of quotations coming out of that clubhouse right now. We'll talk about that next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. And it's time to talk about game time. There is a lot coming to the area as far as shows go this holiday weekend. Outlaws of Country are coming to Dos Equis Pavilion, and that's just one of many, many bands that Nicole has told me about that are headed this way. So there's a lot of ways you can spend and enjoy what will likely be for most people a long 3-day, maybe even a 4-day weekend. Go to gametime.com and they will show you where your seats will be at any of these venues. I see on there they've got tickets for the shows that are coming to Trees, and there's some band called CIX, Jeff, that's coming. Is that 6? Is that six?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's coming. They're coming. So check them out and go to Game Time to get your tickets. And, of course, there's a couple more games left on this Rangers homestand. One features DeGrom. One features Evaldi. GameTime.com. Use DLLS and get $20 off your ticket purchase.
And then, you're going to have some money to go to the concert.
Sure.
Or to the game or to whatever, because you're going to go get some new floors at Empire Today, and they're going to save you $350 off if you go to EmpireToday.com/DLLS. We've talked about the flooring that they've done here, and between Clarence and that Cowboys crew, I'm sure they treat these floors like crap, but they're holding up just fine. And everybody needs new floors. If you've been in a house for a long time, you need to start doing the upgrades to help keep the value up. And one of the big ones, when new prospective home buyers are coming in, they want some nice staying floors. So Empire Day is going to help you out. They're going to give you the home field advantage. They're going to come to your home when you schedule a free in-home estimate at EmpireToday.com/DLLS, and they're going to save you $350 off. That's
a great deal. Okay, so on Sunday, after that heartbreaking extra inning loss, Josh Smith was quoted as saying, "Good teams find a way to win games. Bad teams find a way to lose, in my opinion." I mean, we've still got a lot of games left, but we got to find a way to start winning these games. And then with an opportunity to do just that the next day, they didn't. And again, the distinction it feels like that Josh Smith is drawing there, is making there, the conclusion is good teams win these. Bad teams. He said bad teams.
He did. I'm the one who asked him the question.
Yeah. Were you?
Yeah. That's how he responded.
Yeah.
And they're not taking any silver linings from this because they have played well. They've come back, or they've gotten good pitching and good bullpen work to get these games, to keep them tight and to get them into extra innings. to not lose in regulation, but they should have won them in regulation. And that's what Marcus Simeon's like. There's no silver lining. He's like, we still lost the games.
Right.
And so there's no need to feel good. They don't feel good. They know where their season is. And to be in this spot, it's aggravating to them because, they recognize that they won the World Series not that long ago. They look around the clubhouse, and it's the same guys.
Yep.
For the most part, plus a healthy DeGrom. So, the upgrades, they thought Kyle Higashioka would be an upgrade. And defensively, he has been. His catcher's ERA is wonderful. The bat's not there. And so a lot of these things are backfiring. The Jock Peterson move has been an utter disaster, right? I mean, he got hurt, and he's batting a $160, maybe even worse than that. What's he going to bring you? You know,
Yeah.
he's not going to carry you to a division. He can help be better. He can draw walks. He can hit for power. But where is he going to be? Is he going to be able to reset after the dreadful
What even
first
is
couple
his
months?
timetable? I saw you tweeted that or maybe you wrote it in one of your all DLLS stories, but that he's got the brace off. But do we have a timetable?
He's strengthening it right now. I mean, I'm assuming it would be after the All-Star break, potentially coming out of the All-Star break. I mean, he's just DHing. It's not like he has to train for a marathon here. He just has to train how to hit, but not until the hand. The hand has to be stronger. Make sure there's no pain in it. There's probably hitting progression to ensure that the hand doesn't crack again, or the finger, whatever it was. But he is out of the brace. He is doing stuff,
which I suppose is positive. I mean, if he had been what he's always been, before he got hurt here, we'd be thinking, "Oh, this is great." I don't know what to expect from him coming back.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's fair to say it's got to be better because it can't be any worse.
Sure, would think so.
But you were talking about another injury situation with Tyler Malley, which kind of got brought to the forefront again yesterday. He has a what they're calling a minor strain of his rotator cuff, and so he's no throw for 2 more weeks. So he's not going to be ready before the trade deadline. So if the Rangers go in the toilet here, and or finally go down to the drain, however you want to look at it, they're not going to be able to trade him because he's a free agent after the year. You figured with what he did in April and May, you'd be able to get something for him. Well, that ain't happening. So it's a bad break on that front. But also, the Rangers could use him. They're down to 5 starters plus Jake Latz.
Yeah,
and so that needs to. It's just a tough spot for him on the pitching side. But as Chris Young said yesterday, pitching's not the problem.
No,
and he's right.
No, and we've all seen that. And I saw somebody posted today the stat that says the team ERA #1 in baseball. I think the WHIP #1 in baseball for the team, and then the batting average, team batting average, 28 or 29, one of the two. Right?
That's dreadful. Yeah,
it's just dreadful, and it's not gotten better. It's not gotten better with the change at coach, hitting coach. It's a really strange situation, but this attitude worries me a little bit, right? I mean, Marcus Semien, I think what he's saying as a leader and a quiet leader, certainly carries weight, but I wouldn't want to see Josh Smith or any of the other younger guys sort of get it in their head that, well, crap, we're a bad team.
Yeah, I think he's at least. There's at least some awareness of,
I love that. I do.
Of where they are, and maybe some urgency, and they gotta get better. And I don't think he was like he was
bleak.
Frustrated. It wasn't so bleak and it was hopeless because he went on to say we have a lot of season left.
Yeah.
Chance to turn things around, but it was a pretty blunt comment from a guy who, yes, he's a young player, but he's an everyday player.
He is.
And the Rangers can't live without him.
Nope.
So,
and he carries himself like a veteran. He really does. I really like the way Josh approaches pretty much everything, including the fact that he plays every position, basically.
Yeah, and when you look at, is the offense showing signs of life? When you look at June, he was the AL Player of the Week for a stretch there, and he ended up having a nice month. 311, I think he batted, was on base a lot, and he was one of the guys who had a nice June. So Smith had a great June. Marcus Semien had a nice June. Dlls Garcia, for him, he had a real nice June. And Evan Carter had a good June. And then you kind of go, all right, well, what about the rest of the group? Corey Seager, 188.
Wow.
Right? But you kind of are like, okay, well, he's hit 3 home runs in the last 4 games.
Yeah.
He walked as many times as he struck out. While he batted 188, he was on base 360 clip. So
Okay.
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Kyle Gashioka, 178. Jonah Heim, 164.
Ooh.
Josh Young, 158.
Oh.
So, it's like you got 3 or 4 guys going good, and then 5 guys, well, Corey, who's in the middle, and then 4 guys who aren't. How are you going to structure this lineup? Do you want to put all of these guys at the top of the lineup, all your good hitters, and just pray for the bottom half? Do you try to balance it out? Carter's been batting 6th. Okay. Jonah Heim should not be batting 5th, which is what he's been batting lately. It's like, hey, these guys came around. We needed these 2 guys, Semien and Garcia, to come around.
Yeah.
And it's like,
okay,
Josh Young is in the toilet.
Now we need Heim and Young to come around.
Yeah,
right?
and
Seager has, and we always knew he would.
Yeah.
We always knew he would.
Right.
And it's the weirdest thing, though, because, the maxim, right, the old idiom, the standard in baseball is offense comes and goes. But to your point, Jeff, I'm not sure I've ever seen it come and go in these huge waves like this, where it goes for 3 or 4 or 5 guys at the same time.
Yeah. I think the big one, to Blake's point, the lineup is unbalanced, not enough contact guys.
Yeah.
Corey Seager, 22 walks in the month. That's pretty good. The next highest total was Marcus Semien with 11. They only had 2 guys draw double digits in walks.
Yeah.
Evan Carter had 8. Josh Smith had 8. Dlls had 7. Sam Haggerty, hey, all right, Sam, 9 walks. Jake Berger, 3. All right, and he did miss some time. Gashioka, 5. Jonah Heim, 2. Josh Young, 5. And a team high 27 strikeouts.
Wow.
So it's just it's just kind of hard to believe, and it's certainly not what Chris Young envisioned or Bruce Bochy envisioned when they put this team together. And it doesn't. You can't take a 50 walk guy, as Brett Boone says, and make him a 100 walk guy.
No.
You try to make him a 60 walk guy.
Right.
But at this point, I think that the lineup has to be overhauled in the offseason. There are too many guys that are low walk, low contact guys, like Blake said. You need another guy to go with Evan Carter. I think Osuna, who's only batted 105 in June. Okay, he's not an everyday player. He kind of has those characteristics. He has good at bats for the most part. And when Semien and Seager and Garcia are going well, their at bats seem to grind out a pitcher, as pitchers are a little bit afraid of them. But you need more guys like that. You can't just have 7 guys who are going up there and swinging at the first pitch and swinging and missing, not taking walks, chasing, all those things. You can't have that many guys doing it.
No.
And I think the Rangers are kind of painfully seeing that.
Yeah, and the pain, is manifesting in these heartbreaking losses, and of course Rangers fans are seeing that too, and it begs the question too. In a sense, I think it begs the question: what do they have in Josh Young, in Jonah Heim, right? Maybe there's others that fit that category, but those 2 come to mind. It's like, yes, they both had great success in 23,
right?
But was that the aberration year for them at this level?
Yeah, I think for Jonah, it seems like it was. He wasn't great before 23. He was pretty bad last year, and you could say he got worn down. Okay, I would think that there needs to be more there. Josh, we all know the injury history and all of that stuff. And he is an inexperienced player.
He is.
We talked about that just yesterday on the show.
Yep.
So he has time to change, to get better. But I'm not sure that they're going to float Josh Young an extension. It seems like he would be a pretty good candidate to get an extension here.
Yeah.
No, I thought Jonah would have been a good candidate to get an extension coming off of 23. But now I think you just play out the arbitration years, and if and maybe it comes to the point where you got to decide whether you want to non-tender him or
Trade him.
try to get him to sign for less. So I don't know. And the Burger thing without the walks, it's troubling. There are just too many guys who don't walk, so that means they have to hit to get on base. And if they're not able to make contact, they're not going to get on base.
Nope. Got to get your bat on the ball. They haven't been able to do that. Jim Rockford's right. These pitchers definitely know how to pitch these hitters right now. And, it seems like it's a pretty good playbook because it's worked a lot. More coming up on the show, though, as we get to the month of June. Jeff mentioned some of the guys that had good months. We'll look at their numbers. We'll talk about the month of June and sort of forecast what needs to happen in July. It's coming right now on the DLLS Rangers podcast.
But let me tell you about our friends at Monarch Money because they're going to help you with your money.
Yep.
I don't know about the Radigans, but the Wilsons have a vacation planned in July, and Jenny, the wife, lover, she's like, hey, let's do this little trip up to Denver in early August. All right. I think she must be using Monarch Money.
Yeah.
Because I can't make heads or tails of our spending and earnings and all that stuff. We're doing okay though, so I guess Monarch has got us on the right path.
Yeah.
And that's what they're going to do. They're going to help you live the life you want to live. You're not going, just getting by. They're going to help you save money. They're going to help you plan for your future. All these things that a healthy financial family and situation provides. So get control of your overall finances with Monarch Money. Use the code DLLS at monarchmoney.com for half off your first year. 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with the code DLLS.
Yeah, it's a great idea. And so is getting your job posted out there at LinkedIn Jobs. If you need to post a job, you need to hire somebody, there's no place better to do it than LinkedIn Jobs. The vast network of LinkedIn is in full effect when you post a job there because there's so many people that will see it. There are so many people on LinkedIn doing what? Looking for jobs. So the candidate pool is unbelievable, and you can take advantage of that. You can find the best person to fill whatever job it is that you might have, whatever need you have at your business. You can find the perfect candidate at LinkedIn Jobs. You can pay a little extra to get the preferred candidate list. That sets it a little higher, right, on the list and a little more visibility. But it won't matter either way. You get a great candidate. Post your job for free at LinkedInJobs.com. Okay, so June, you mentioned it, Jeff. I think really the guy who was the player of the week and then didn't play for a week, essentially, right? Yeah. Josh Smith, because he had a hamstring. But Josh Smith was, arguably, for the Rangers anyway, the player of the month. I know if you had pitchers in, it could certainly be different. But Josh Smith had a really, really good month for the Rangers, and it continues, a really good season. Look at Josh's numbers and the multi-hit games. When you consider, I don't know exactly, I didn't look at it, but he missed a few.
Yeah, and he had 6 of those games during his stretch where he was the AL player of the month. He can start the game with a hit, and he starts a lot of stuff when he's right. I thought from a player perspective, the most important month was what Marcus Semien did.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The guy who, was batting 173 at the end of May, or toward the end of May, not at the end of May. Look at that month.
It's amazing.
That's pretty good stuff. I mean, that's better than what he did in his MVP, the 23 when he finished third in MVP voting.
Yeah.
Those are pretty darn good numbers. You would think RBIs would be higher, but for a guy who's batting 4th mostly, but of course nobody was on base ahead of him. But the extra base hit had been missing for the first 2 months. He went into that last week of the season. It was after that Toronto game where it was so terrible. Yep. So going into the last series of May, Marcus Semien had 1 double.
Wow,
which is stunning. So he showed some good stuff there. The issue with the team, I mean, Dlls, very good for him where he had
again,
been.
if you look
after
at
the
Dlls'
reset,
numbers from June,
this is basically after the reset.
Yep, that's right. So he got those done because the reset came in June. Yeah,
End of May and maybe the first second
couple
game
days of June. But
yeah.
anyway, those numbers that he put up in June, he tailed off a little here lately, but that's kind of his career numbers. The slug's probably a little down.
The average is a little up.
And the average is a little up. But that's essentially
but the K rate
that's
is
what
down.
you have.
The strikeout rate is down. That's big for him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not chasing. The chase rate is down. So, and he's not immune from it. You know, he had one of those strikeouts last night. He's only going to pitch about 9 feet off the plate.
Yeah.
And, he's still going to. That's still going to get him.
He'll still chase some, but he's not chasing as much.
It's better. All right, so the Rangers needed Simeon and Garcia to be better. We were just talking about
They have been,
and they needed Simeon to be better, and he's tracking that way, trending that way. But again, they got to have guys on base to produce. They can't just keep driving themselves in because they're only batting 4 times a game. All right, but if you're a silver linings guy, if you're glass half full, that's good. It's good that those guys are going, and maybe they can drag some other people with them. But another shocking stat for June is that the Rangers team leader in home runs had only 4. That's a pretty small number.
A really low number.
I mean, really low number. It's just 4 home runs, and 3, and Corey Seager and Simeon tied for the lead.
Each had 4.
Seager had 3 in the last 4. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, he hit a home run each game.
Yeah.
All right.
Wow.
Simeon hit his 4th home run last night. That's just a pretty staggering stat. That tells you a lot. As much as the walk stat earlier, they're not getting on base. They're not hitting it over the fence. No wonder they're so bad offensively. It's just wow. It's just a wow. That's what I got for you.
Yeah, that is a wow, and you need better production out of them, and then of course conversely, I don't know that you can get much better production out of the pitching staff, which is again one of the things that makes this so frustrating. And the bell cow of that, of course, is Jacob deGrom. And you look at his month of June, and Jeff, this is, Jacob deGrom's always great. This is unbelievable.
It is, and we in the media, Rangers media, get to determine the player of the month for the team, and I voted for Jacob deGrom. Not ashamed to admit it.
Mm-hmm.
I also was selected by the club to vote for player of the year, player of the month in the league, and pitcher of the month in the league. And I voted for Jacob deGrom for the pitcher. Gets a little tighter there because his ERA was 3rd best, only 3rd best.
Wow, who's got okay?
I think
so
Hunter Brown,
Scooble and Brown. Is that
I don't even remember if it was Scooble, but Jacob led the American League in June with the lowest opponents on base, slugging, OPS, and WHIP. All right, led the league in those categories.
Wow,
that's really, 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 really good.
Yeah, no, that's silly.
And he is a very deserving candidate for that award. I'm not saying he's going to win it, but I did vote for him, and we should find that out later today or tomorrow, just who it was. But that's how good that guy was. Just phenomenal.
Yeah, and really, I guess sort of the other pitchers, maybe slid back a little bit, but not much. You got great performance. I think you've gotten 3 really good performances out of Kumar Rocker now. There was a little slide, I suppose, in Jack Leiter's performance, but his last outing was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Corbin, as we said, fought through it last night and really hasn't fallen off much. And of course, Molly and Evaldi were hurt.
Yeah, Corbin has come back a little bit. His ERA in June was over 5. But it's kind of crazy. He gave up the 4 or 5 runs in his loss at Baltimore. but still giving the Rangers a chance, But yeah, Jake Latz had a nice June as a reliever and a starter. Rocker, 4 starts, 4.12 ERA. So the rotation did slide a little bit, but to your point, Leiter 5.47 ERA, and that includes what he did the other day. So getting Evaldi back is going to be very, very helpful to this team. But of late, though, Rocker's starts have been better. Jack's last was better. Corbin's just going to go in there and fight for you.
Yeah,
and give you a chance to win.
Yeah,
that's just
all you're
thing.
asking.
And
yeah,
it's silly. It's kind of it can kind of sound silly, I guess. Oh, well, he gave us a chance, but it's true.
It is true, and it begs the question now, having looked at this June, and again, in which the Rangers were a beautifully mediocre 13-13, right? I mean, they didn't have a losing month, but they didn't have a winning month. And so what do you – less games in July because of the All-Star break.
Right.
But let's face it, at a minimum, you absolutely can't be 500 in July, right?
No.
If you want to continue to go towards the playoffs and go towards the, ultimately maybe, it seems really unlikely now, but not impossible to head toward the top of the division.
Yeah, the Rangers have, 11 games left for the All-Star break, 2 tonight and then the 9-game road trip. They have opportunity in front of them. The Orioles are definitely not perfect.
No.
Charlie Morton is not starting tonight. He's been scratched, so they're starting the guy they beat up on Wednesday.
Yeah.
They have chances to win these next 2 games. San Diego, not going to be easy. Angels, probably tougher than you thought, but a chance to make up ground in your division. Astros, going to be hard.
Yep.
Especially at Houston, where the Rangers don't play worth a darn unless it's the playoffs. But a chance, again, to make up ground. So I think these next 11 games are going to be pretty monumental as the front office weighs what to do at the deadline. Do they go get help? I don't know. I don't know what the cutoff is. The Rangers are 3 games out of a wild card. That can be made up by Friday.
100%.
They need some help along the way, but that seems doable. The 9.5 in the West is going to be tough, although you still have a lot of games left against the Astros. There are opportunities, and the Astros, they're going great right now, but this is a baseball season. They're going to hit a tough patch.
They are.
It just happens to every team. So I think that Chris Young is going to try to go as long as he can here. He knows that the team is flawed. He still believes in the team, and he's probably more competitive than any player. I mean, he is just wants it so bad, takes every loss so hard, and so he's going to try to stay in it as long as he can before he admits defeat. So we'll see. I think these next 11 games are very critical. And then they open up the second half against the Tigers.
Right. Yeah, that ain't
tough.
easy.
No. And then
they got the Yankees
they
coming,
play the A's. All right. And then they play the Braves. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And the Braves are they're the National League's Rangers. I think that's safe to say.
They are.
They're right there on the cusp. They have a guy, Michael Harris, second, who isn't doing squat. He's their goat, and there are a lot of similarities between the two teams. So maybe you have until the Rangers have until the end of the A's series, the 23rd, before Chris Young has to decide. But they have to be in this, I think, range, this target area in the wild card. Maybe they could lose another game or two. I think that's kind of where they were at last year when they did make some additions, not some big ones, but they made a couple additions. And then if it doesn't and they decide to sell, then you got to talk about, well, who are they going to sell?
Right.
Who are they going to get rid of?
Malley's no longer a candidate.
Malley's not a candidate. Is Patrick Corbin a candidate?
Possibly.
Maybe. But then you look at every reliever on a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
Hobie
Any
Milner,
one of them, but is
Chris Martin.
John Gray a candidate? As he
won't
probably
be
won't
back
have
by
enough
then.
body of work by then.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tough spot. Would a Dlls Garcia be a candidate? Let's say he's remaining at his career levels,
right,
and is productive. Do you want that player back next year at 12 or 13 million?
Right.
B, what could you get for him now?
Right.
And if you know you're going to remake your roster or remake your lineup and get guys who hit the ball, who put the ball in play, who draw walks, Wood not re-signing Malley, not re-signing Gray, and not re-signing Adolis, does that get you in the market for Kyle Tucker?
Right. Does that get you enough money freed up? Right.
So there's some things to determine here. And would Kyle Tucker sign with the Rangers even after playing all those years at the Astros?
Yeah, he might not.
He'll probably go to the highest bidder.
But
it'll be an interesting next 3 or 4 weeks for sure.
Yeah, it sure will. We've got lots more to talk about. We want to get to lots of stuff you've been chatting about in the chat. We always appreciate you. We've got the cleanup segment and lots of chatting with you coming next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. And Jeff's the one in merch today.
Yeah, I've got a new strategy. The last couple days at the old ball yard, I've gotten really cold.
Gotcha.
So I am wearing long pants today. I'm wearing a T-shirt because as soon as I step foot inside Global Life Field, I am putting on a sweatshirt.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a controversial way to go. But if I'm not going to wear a collared shirt, if I'm going to have something like a pullover or a hoodie on, I'm going to wear a DLS shirt underneath.
I've been sweating the last couple of days at the ball.
Well,
yesterday I wasn't there, but two before that, man, I was hot.
Anyway,
yeah.
These shirts are great. We have so many, probably like 35 to 40 available.
I think so.
Just for our 4 main teams. There's Wings shirts, TCU, Texas
SMU.
Baylor, SMU. So anyway, go to store.allcitynetwork.com. These are great shirts, and it's a unique way to show support for your team. This is a Maverick shirt. So anyway, it's good looking. They're all good looking. And we've got a humdinger coming. We keep teasing you with it, and we can't wait for it to come out.
Yeah, coming soon, and you can still take advantage of our Make Your Move sale and become a diehard. $36 to become a diehard. You get a free shirt with that. The shirt would cost you $35, so you get diehard membership for $1, and there's lots there. Jeff writes almost every day this time of year. I've dabbled. We've got all kinds of writers out there for all our teams. I think we're in the process of hiring another Cowboys writer to team with Clarence. So we've got all kinds of stuff going on at that diehard, behind the paywall with all the things that are written. Plus, if you do it, you get 20% off any of our events. One of which, as we've told you, is going to be a trip to Las Vegas to watch the Cowboys play the Raiders. That's coming in November. 20% off of that and so many other great opportunities if you become a diehard today. So how about Wilyer Abreu yesterday?
I didn't see what he did for the Red Sox. I missed it.
My goodness. So Wilyer Abreu hits a ball earlier in the game. I didn't note the inning here, but earlier in the game. And, Jeff, he hit it at the exact spot that Benji Molina hit his ball.
Oh.
You know, that little corner.
Yeah.
And he hit it right there. But it was a way, my memory of Benji Molina's ball is we never thought it was getting out.
Right.
There's no doubt Wilyer thought that ball was getting out at that spot. And the wall's pretty high right there. Anyway, he kind of stands at the plate admiring it.
Uh-oh.
Well, then it hits off that wall, and it caroms hard left, and he circles the bases.
No kidding.
Inside the park home run after he kind of showboated a little bit, but it's okay because it's fine as long as you get it done. Later in the game, he hits a grand slam.
Oh, what a game.
And he became the first player to do that since 1958. I think only the 5th or 6th ever. In
They hit it
1950,
inside the park and a grand slam.
and a grand slam in the same game.
Well, they're both pretty rare.
They are. Either
Yeah.
one, even
The inside the park is probably the most rare thing, right?
yeah, and in and of itself, either one's pretty rare. But Roger Maris was the last one to do it in 58.
Wow.
And I think the guy
He must
before
have
him
been-
was
I think he was with Kansas City still then.
yeah, and the guy before him was I think was Charlie Gehringer in 1930.
Oh, wow. For the Tigers?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then it was, Bubblegum Johnson, and before that, then in the 1890s, it was, Cutthroat McGillicuddy. And by the way, I love those nicknames. But anyway,
Nine-Toed Alexander.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but that was a pretty cool day for William Abreu, who he's a heck of a young player, and
Kills the Rangers.
Yeah. That's another team that's, I think, a little bit like the Rangers, right? It's like, what the hell,
Well, and they just traded their guy Devers. And,
yeah.
They struggled right after he got traded, but they have guys. Duran's a guy, Abreu's a young guy. Trevor Story's kind of stunk it up and is no longer.
I don't think he's on that right trajectory
in
anymore.
Favor
No.
with the Red Sox fans, but then they have their young guys up. So I don't know. They're an interesting team too.
Yeah, they really are. And by the way, I have
sell.
officially started watching the season. Is that what it's called? That documentary on Netflix about them.
Yeah.
And
I haven't
of course,
watched that
that's
one.
the one where Jaron Duran is
Yeah.
reveals his severe depression and all that. But and I think it was episode 1 or 2. One of the things I loved was there was a brawl. Typical baseball brawl out there. And I'll be danged if there isn't one big, tall, gray-haired, gray-bearded fella out there dropping that bomb. I'm like, that's our buddy Chris Martin out there. So anyway, well, I haven't seen him. I'll have to go talk to him about his appearance, see if he get a fee for that,
Yeah.
So today, for those who celebrate, and I know not everybody does. I know there's at least one guy that does every year. Today's Bobby Bonilla Day.
Oh, yeah.
$1.19 million is paid to Bobby Bonilla every July the 1st until 2035.
Unbelievable. What a
He may
deal.
be dead by then.
He might be. I've seen him lately. He doesn't look good.
No.
But yeah, that's a staggering deal. The deferred money. I would do it.
Me too. Me too.
And I think
you just don't know, like that guarantee of that kind of money. And I remember, heck, way back in the day when Randy White was going into the Hall of Fame, former Cowboy Randy White, and I went out to his ranch out there, and now he's probably sold it by now. But then it was in this crazy sort of unique rustic and rural area called Prosper. And that's really where it was. He was way the hell out in Prosper, Texas. Hard to even find. He's on this huge ranch. He had livestock, the whole thing. And I was just saying to him, Randy, do you have to work these days? Or, what are you doing? I knew he had done some commercials. He goes, nope. And at that time, and this is still good money, but he said, I got deferred money. Cowboys pay me $575,000 every year. And it was for 10 years after he retired.
Oh, wow.
So, he takes $5 million in deferred money, and for 10 years, he's making $500,000 a year guaranteed.
Yeah.
And of course he's fine. He's fine. But
good. I was worried about the Manster.
yeah, the Manster's fine.
Okay.
He's all good. So anyway, yeah, I wish I had a Bobby Bonilla Day.
It's also Canada Day, right?
Oh, yes, it is.
Yeah.
They're 135, did I see? No. I think they're 135 today.
They definitely have little brother syndrome, that's for sure.
There's no question. I heard one comedian say, Canada's like our attic. Oh, I didn't even know you were here.
But anyway, they'll play a day game today. They're at they got the Yankees.
Okay. Oh, that's good. So seen at the Angels-Nationals game this weekend, and I'm pretty sure, I couldn't tell for sure from the picture, but I'm pretty sure from the picture it was in the, the Scott Boras suite that's right there.
Oh, at Angels Stadium?
Angels Stadium.
Yeah.
In the Scott Boras suite right there was Matt Holliday with son Ethan.
Hey, that's not legal.
Probably
just
why
just an advisor, not getting paid, just an advisor.
Probably why they were like cowering from the picture. But anyway, there it was. And, ironically, Ethan, who could well be the number 1 pick, which if he is, he goes to Chicago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think the Angels and the Nationals, either one, are teams. Like he's looking at 2 teams he could
No. Nationals are 1.
Are they?
Angels are 2.
Oh, okay.
The White Sox can't pick until 11th because you can't be in the top 10 of the lottery 2 straight years. So they're I think they pick right ahead of the Rangers, 1 or 2 spots ahead of the Rangers. So yeah, the first pick is the Nationals. Second pick, Dodgers. So he was killing.
So
he
was looking at the 2 teams.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Third pick, the Mariners, who lucked into it and made a huge, almost Mavs-like improvement in their draft scenario.
Yeah. So anyway, that was interesting picture, and I'm like you. It's like, and again, I'm not 100% sure it was, but it was definitely one of those dugout suites.
Oh yeah,
there at Angel Stadium. I'm pretty sure it was the Boris one.
Yeah.
And we used to walk. I mean, the tunnel to get off the field there, the umpires' tunnel there.
Right.
There's the Boris suite right there. He'd stop us and holler at us and so forth. So a couple things in the chat. Yeah, like Kyle saying that the Dodgers will be paying Ohtani till 30-35. I think that's a pretty good line. It's probably not that long, but so what were some of the things there?
Some chat stuff.
Yeah.
All right, rarities back to back. What players on our team have worth that'll get us prospects in return? I mean, you're going to get prospects. I just don't know if they'll be good prospects.
Right.
Those relievers on expiring contracts, you never get
a
Cy Young winner back.
No.
Maybe a guy who could contribute down the road. Malley would have been the big one. So yeah, I don't know that it saves money, which billionaire Ray Davis really likes to do.
Yes, he does.
It would save the Rangers, but not a lot. It's not like they signed any of these guys for massive contracts.
No.
Martin was the biggest at like 5.5.
Yeah.
And so you're going to be saving probably at the trade deadline, probably around 40 to 45% of that.
Yeah.
That's not a lot, really, in the grand scheme of things.
No.
Howie Milner was $2.5 million. Jacob Webb was just over $1 million. Patrick Corbin is $1 million.
Yeah. I mean,
do all those little things add up?
Not to enough.
Not enough to sign a player.
No.
Next year in the offseason. So I don't know. And maybe they get creative. Maybe they do. Maybe they do tire. Maybe they are tired of somebody, and they're like, all right, let's just get rid of him.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of years of control left. We might be able to cash in, and because I'm sure teams always they think they can always help another player.
Sure.
Like, oh, if he's with us, we can do this, this, and that, and make him this.
Our coaches can coach him up. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know.
We'll
and then, is there any realistic possibility that the Rangers will sign J.D. Martinez? Well, apparently they made an offer, though it was a non-guaranteed big league deal, and he wasn't interested in that. And they've been saying he's been staying in shape. Okay, great. He signed late last year by the Mets. Did not have a good year. I don't know that it's worth it. Plus, you would have then 2 DHs on your roster that you'd have to carry. And, okay, you can platoon them. Great. What are they going to do the rest of the time?
Right.
Do you want to put J.D. Martinez in the outfield? Nope. First base? Nope.
And you don't want to put Jock Peterson in either one of those positions.
And he has played some first, but, I think they hold their breath every time a ball comes toward him, whether it's thrown or hit. So it doesn't make a ton of sense. They could use a right-handed hitter. I think they had 3 or 4 lefties in the lineup last night against a left-hander. But I don't know. I don't know if that one makes a ton of sense.
No, I don't think so either. And I do think that, this Rangers team needs to, again, if they can, somehow, I don't know, get out of their own way, play to their ability, find some confidence. And again, those are all things that are all up here. But we don't want them thinking like they're a bad team. We want them thinking like, we're 2023 Rangers. We can win.
Yeah, and I when I was talking about the schedule and everything, I think also you might be able to get a read on what they think if they send Josh Young to the minors or give him a series off. I think that's a potential. Like, all right, we still believe in these guys. If this guy gets going, we've got a chance. So I think that's another kind of look for that to happen too.
Yeah. All right. So that's going to do it for us today. The Rangers play tonight against the Baltimore Orioles. It's Jacob deGrom on the mound tonight. So we'll hope to have great things to talk about regarding that start and maybe a win, maybe a non-extra inning game.
Oh man,
how about that? We'll talk about if they have one, it'll be a record. But anyway, whatever it is, we'll talk about it tomorrow, 1:00 on the DLLS Rangers podcast. I lied. Tomorrow's getaway day.
Oh yeah, we got a night game.
We're on late tomorrow night. Yeah, we'll be on after the Rangers game tomorrow night. We're back at 1:00 on Thursday. But tomorrow night, catch us after the game, post-game show, DLLS Rangers podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.